Maps allow us to explore different places around the world from the comfort of our homes. In fact, for some people, discovering what can only be seen from above has become a source of entertainment. Kendall zoomed in when she saw something unusual on Google Maps. Her eyes widened in disbelief. She thought it might be a mistake or a hoax, but what she saw seemed all too real. She knew she had to see for herself. It all started when Kendall and Jim decided to take a week-long vacation together. They have both been working hard recently. I haven't had much time to myself in the past few months. They sat down and planned their trip and chose a tropical destination. Jim was excited about spending long days at the beach with Kendall. He chose a secluded and quiet island so they can fully enjoy the tropical atmosphere without being surrounded by other tourists. Kendall is a woman who loves adventure, loved the outdoors. When she heard about this remote island, she was very excited. She started looking for other activities they could do there. While exploring the island online, she decided to look at Google Maps. She was thrilled by the white sand and turquoise waters. She knew she would get a tan at rest. While browsing Google Maps, Kendall found a large port and magnified it, and that's when she encountered something unexpected. This photo shows a shipwreck in the harbor. Oddly enough, Kendall checked the dates of the photos and found that they were relatively recent. Will the ship still be there? She had never explored a shipwreck before. This could be the adventure she's been looking for. Kendall immediately searched the internet for information about shipwrecks on the island, but she was surprised to find nothing came of it. Yet the wreck is clearly visible on Google Maps. Can't miss. Will she be the first to find it? Kendall remembers how many people found things through Google Maps, like a lost car. If she really was the first person to notice this wreck, this would be an important discovery. The anticipation keeps Kendall up at night. There were only 2 days left before the trip, and she couldn't contain her excitement. She put exploring shipwrecks on her to-do list for the first day of the trip. Kendall prepares to dive and uncover the mystery beneath the waves. But as she looked at the ship, doubts began to creep in. Why is there no news or information about the wreck? Could it have been deliberately hidden? Finally, their holiday arrived, and Kendall was thrilled. The journey to the remote island was long and included a drive-by plane. In the end, the boat trip took a total of 15 hours. Despite the fatigue, Kendall's excitement belied any sense of tiredness. After checking into the hotel and eating lunch, they still had a few hours until dawn. Kendall was eager to visit the harbor right away, while Jim initially wanted to go to the beach, but he finally gave in to Kendall's demands. Kendall couldn't stop talking about the abandoned ship she'd found on a Google map. She showed Jim the photo and pointed out that there was nothing online about it. Jim, however, did not share Kendall's enthusiasm. To him, it was just an ordinary shipwreck that seemed to have no value. So they decided to deal with the matter immediately. When Kendall and Jim called a taxi and asked the driver to take them to the port, they got an unexpected response. When Kendall mentioned the name of the place, the taxi driver acted as if he didn't know. This confused Kendall because it was a small island. She wants the taxi driver to be familiar with all the locations. Jim suggested GPS navigation, and the driver reluctantly agreed. But then things got even weirder. As they neared their destination, the taxi driver suddenly seemed to recognize where they were going. His demeanor immediately changed to one of panic. He told Kendall and Jim that he couldn't take them any further because tourists are forbidden to go there. He suddenly stopped the car and told them to get out, refusing to participate in their plan. Jim was shocked and confused. Jim asked Kendall if she was okay, but to his surprise, she became more excited. For Kendall, the driver's reaction confirmed the port. Something unusual did happen. Her shipwreck could be the key to solving this mystery. Kendall couldn't wait to get to the port, and she checked the GPS, realized they still have a long way to go. Since none of the locals were willing to take them there, they decided to continue on foot. Fortunately, the afternoon sun was not scorching. As they walked, Jim began to doubt Kendall's plan. He realized that if the authorities caught them, they could be kicked off the island. It was only the first day of their holiday. He didn't want their efforts to go to waste. But just as Jim was trying to convince Kendall to go back, they reached their destination. There was a big fence around the port Kendall had been looking for. It says no trespassing in different languages. Jim knew they had reached a point of no return. Kendall tried to climb the fence at once, but Jim stopped her, pulling her back into the shade. He urged her to think things through rationally. He was sure they would be arrested if caught. It's getting ridiculous. Jim told Kendall he wanted to enjoy their vacation on the beach, not in prison. He won't stop her if she wants to continue, but he won't join her either. Jim thought giving Kendall an ultimatum would bring her to her senses. There was a moment when she turned to survey the fenced harbor. He believes he has already made an impact, but when she turned to face him, he realized he was wrong. Kendall was determined to find out. She thought the situation didn't seem so dangerous because the harbor seemed abandoned. She suggested they split up for a while so if she got into trouble, she can call him and sort it out. Kendall told him to go back to the hotel and spend the day by the pool or the beach. She assured him that she would come to him after inspecting the wreck. If she doesn't contact him within 2 hours, then he should consider calling the police. Kendall had climbed over the fence before Jim could say anything. She moved quickly to stop Jim from holding her back. Once on the other side, she turned and smiled at him and assured him she was okay. Jim was disappointed but not surprised by Kendall's behavior. They've been going out for a while and he knows how stubborn she can be. Her strong and independent personality was what first attracted him to her. It is futile to argue with her. Jim watched Kendall walk quietly toward the harbor. He glanced around to see if anyone had noticed her. As Kendall had pointed out earlier, the port seemed empty. She waved him away when she saw him still standing there. Jim chuckled at the absurdity of it all. He knew Kendall was capable of taking care of herself. She went through survival training and even boot camp. Just for fun, he turned and walked back to the hotel with a smile on his face. Kendall looked around again, satisfied that there was no danger. He came out of the bushes. She approached the edge of the harbor, peeking into the water where she could see the wreck clearly. The boat seemed closer to the surface than she had expected. Kendall believes she can dive to find it. After all, she's a pretty good swimmer who can hold her breath for a long time. After another quick glance around her, she slipped into the harbor without hesitation. Kendall found what she saw on Google Maps. The ship sunk in a storm. On further exploration, she noticed that many of the explosives were still on board. She made sure not to touch anything and then resurfaced for air. Kendall hurried back to the fence and jumped over it. No wonder the entire port is off limits. These explosives are too dangerous to be recovered in their current state. Poses a threat to other vessels sailing in the area. After learning why the port was restricted, Kendall realized she shouldn't venture out into the water to explore the wreck. However, she was happy that she now had the answers she was looking for. She was eager to share her discovery and went back to the hotel to tell Jim.